This is Brittany Slays from Unleash the Archers.
Hi, this is Mark from Dragon Force.
This is Zoe from Insatiate.
Hey guys, this is Thomas from Camelot.
This is Vicky Sarakis from The Agonist, and you're listening to the Great Metal Debate Podcast.
Welcome back to the podcast, metal fans. Today we're joined by Michala and Chuck from Midwestern Melodic Meddlers Caducus. Thank you both for joining us today on the Great Metal Debate Podcast.
Well, thank you for having us.
Definitely. Happy to be here.
We're in Nashville, Tennessee prior to Caducus' show at Daisy Dukes. Now, the band performed at this same venue about 7 weeks ago. Seems like a good sign that you were welcomed back.
Yeah.
They made cutouts of us.
They did, I guess.
We're on the bar. We're on the bar shelf. They took our postcard, cut us out, and put us all over their little alcohol shelf.
Look at us. We're going up.
We will be known by everyone who comes to Daisy Dukes.
Everyone.
Well, I'm looking forward to the show tonight. I've had an opportunity to see you all perform multiple times before. For folks who haven't had the pleasure, describe your style for those folks that have an idea about what to expect.
It's very melodic metalcore, you could say. It's if you like Breaking Benjamin, 3 Days Grace, and that kind of stuff, then you'll enjoy it. And if you also enjoy like the Memphis Mayfire kind of hardcore-ish music, Michala does some great guttural screams, and she can really throw down. So I mean, it's great heavy and hard music if that's what you enjoy, and it's also really good for if you enjoy really melodic singing. You know, she does lots of operatic texture in all of her runs and stuff, and it's really interesting to listen to, in all honesty.
I can also yodel.
That style that you're talking about was first on full display for the world on your initial EP, String Me Up. How did that EP come about, and what was the reaction when you first offered it up?
We've had all good reviews of it. Even if people aren't into metal, we're kind of like a gateway to metal. We're very melodic, so it draws you in, and you don't quite catch how heavy it is underneath. The new album's going to be much heavier, but keep that same feel. Still melodic, still kind of, got you. Now you listen to something heavy.
I think they really enjoyed it. Now, I mean, I'm not on it, so it's not as good as it could have been, but... But no, I think the fans really did enjoy that first album, and this next one really has lots of the core of that first album, like all of the story art that she puts into the lyrics, Michala does, but we have a new rhythm section, you know, so it's a complete new beat under it, so it's a lot more, it's fun, it's a lot more fun for me just because I get to go a little heavier with it.
And my screams have gotten much better from the first album because I was just learning how to scream. It was probably the hardest thing vocally I've ever had to do.
Well, I know that EP gave you all the opportunity to open from some bands like Butcher Babies and Helvete. What were those experiences like?
Overwhelming, really. I remember just getting up on the Mercury Ballroom, and the stage was huge. I didn't even know what to do with most of the room, and whenever people showed up and half the room was filled before we even got to play, I was like, man, this is the first time I've been nervous in a long time. I recall that was the first shows I've got nervous in a while because it was just huge. Now Levante is huge, so I was more excited to see them than anything, really.
Well, I first got that EP at your show in Bowling Green last November. Michala, you signed my copy, The Green M, and I'll admit that kind of puzzled me. Is there a story behind that?
Kind of. I'm very green and environmentally, and it's my favorite color and my eye color. And then my best friend, her name also begins with an M, so we've always been the M&Ms, and I'm the green one, and I just don't want to sign my whole name. You get the green M, and that's all you get.
She's a peculiar one, she is.
Well, you've alluded to the new album, Fallen. How long has that been in the works?
Pretty much since I joined. I mean, pretty much. When I joined, it was just Michala and our guitar player, Chuck. We have 2 Chucks in the band. And I came in and jammed with them that first day, and it just clicked, and we immediately started writing afterwards. And it was all new stuff. It was like a completely different direction. Well, I can't say completely. And it was just, we wrote perfectly. Chuck just had riffs ready, and I could drum to them instantly. It was a really good fit. And we just wrote so easily that an album came out of nowhere.
Talk about the new direction, but before we get to that, you'd have included some tracks off the EP, Evolve and Obey and Safe Word. What made those tracks make the cut?
Well, Safe Word is a very popular song, and we wanted to continue that direction with just everybody loves it. It gets people in, and they already know the song. Evolve and Obey, we actually re-recorded. We're having a new guest singer on it. So, I mean, all the rhythm on it's going to be a little bit heavier and a little bit different, and we really like the way it sounds now compared to how it was. And on the next album, we already have a plan. We are taking 2 of the songs off the EP, re-recording them, and putting them on the next album with our new rhythm section and making them more of what we are now.
So continuing to bring back the old with the new.
Yeah.
Well, I know part of the new album is going to be that first single off the album, Sanctuary. Tell me a little bit about that, and especially about a video, which I understand is about to come out.
Yeah, I rolled my head when you said video, because that was a painstaking process getting this video filmed. We've been out till 2 a.m. every shooting. I mean, it has been gruesome, but the song itself has been really fun to work with, because Michala and Chuck already had that one almost finished when we started working on it. So that one really has a lot of the old Caducus sound, and I was just able to run with it pretty much. Like, they didn't really have a guideline for me to do. I just had to, because I mean, with the other Caducus songs, you know, the old drummer Steve already had a rhythm placed, and I just had to build from that rhythm. This one I had free range, so it was. This Sanctuary is the most fun to play for me, just because there's so much stuff that I get to play around with. I don't know. I like Sanctuary. It's my favorite so far.
You've been performing it live for some time.
Yeah, we played it before we switched members, and it just never sounded right, so we kind of stopped playing it. And then once we got him on it, it sounded perfect. It was exactly what we wanted it to be. And all my songs have a story, and it's no different. And the video is actually more like horror video themed because of our location and just how we had to film it. So we're making it kind of like a horror movie, tying it into the storyline. So it should be fun. Hopefully people like it. And it'll be the first thing we have as far as a real video on YouTube. So when people say, do you have something on YouTube? We can say, yes, yes we do.
We just never have gotten around to updating that.
We have our raccoon.
Yeah.
Our raccoon video. We met a raccoon and fed it. After a show.
I saw that. Was that here?
No, it was in Lexington. Was it Lexington?
No, that was in Nashville.
No, it wasn't.
That was in Asheville.
Asheville.
That was in Asheville, North Carolina. And we walked out of a Mexican restaurant, and there was this raccoon playing on the ground, and me and the bass player, Crockett, were out smoking a cigarette, and this raccoon runs up on us, and I was taken aside. It ran right to me. Michala comes out and starts feeding it chips, and it was the coolest thing I've ever experienced.
Well, in addition to the new music, the new album Fallen also sports a new, cleaner logo. Was there a desire to somewhat rebrand the band visually as well as lyrically?
Yes. When I originally did the logo art, I was never quite satisfied with it. It worked for what it was. It ended up being kind of an overused font, but it worked for the feel, because we're not uber metal. We're not, you know, I didn't want something that you couldn't read and it looked like trees, but, you know, but I didn't want something too generic and plain. And so we reworked it. It is cleaner. It's something we can use separately without, it doesn't even have to have our name with it. We can use it in, you know, in unison, or we can use it separately and change up the designs and get some new merch going. And I'm very excited. I love merching.
Well, earlier this year, you started an Indiegogo campaign to generate support for the new album. Why did you go that route, and were you pleased with the outcome?
Pleased, yeah. I mean, I was very pleased because, I was amazed at how many people, really showed their support with us. But we went that way simply because none of us are millionaires. You know, I'm a caregiver. That's what I work. Our guitar player works at a pizza place, and poor Michala here works at a strip club. And I'll leave it there.
I work at the door, and I also do construction, and I'm also a manager at a production company, and I also manage us. So I'm a busy person.
Yeah. So none of us make ridiculous money, so we really needed some help from our fans, and we were really counting on it. And they did help us a lot. You know, it helped pay for our video, and most of the stuff.
And you had some great perks for people who did contribute.
Well, we didn't do it as a way to just have them donate. We did it as a way for them to pre-order, so we got a good idea of what merch people wanted, and that way, it was a trade-off. So you help us now, we give you stuff later. So, and that's the thing, we're an independently funded band. We have no backers, we have no label. It's hard to raise all that money at one time, but when I get the merch later, I can easily give it back to you. So instead of buying it from me after the fact, buy it now and you get it first.
And so tell us when the new album Fallen will be released.
June 17th. The single and the video release will be next Friday, May 20th. At the Butcher Baby shows, we will have free download cards with purchase of any merch, but the release for the actual album will be June 17th.
And you mentioned the Butcher Baby show, so tell us a little bit about what the band has planned as far as shows, etc., after that release.
We're working on some tours. We've got a few weekends out between now and the release of the album. After the album, we're doing a week through the Midwest, going up through Chicago, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, all of that, doing a circle, and then just continuing it out, doing a week or two at a time.
Wrapping up with you today, tell fans exactly how they can get their hands on this new album, Fallen, as well as the other great Caducus merchandise.
iTunes. I'm pretty sure you can pre-order on iTunes. I'm pretty sure you can. I think iTunes has that option no matter what on albums. And of course you can buy String Me Up on iTunes, Amazon, Google,
Spotify.
I'm going to stop repeating and just let her say it.
You can also come to our shows, get hugs, get stickers, and buy the album.
Well, I want to encourage our listeners to do just that. Come on out and see these guys. They are really talented. I'm so excited to see you all once again tonight. Pick up that EP, String Me Up, and the new album, Fallen, when it comes out on June 17th. Michala, Chuck, thank you all so much for joining us today.
Thank you.